This is the human heart. Central to our physical body, our survival, revered by poets throughout history as the emotional center of our being. The place we instinctively touch when asked to point to ourselves. And now, what we have known intuitively is being understood scientifically. Researchers are unlocking a new science of the heart that could change everything we know about health and our interconnected nature. Coherence is a state of balance between heart, mind, and emotions, creating a favorable cascade of neural, hormonal, and biochemical events that benefit the entire body. But this phenomenon not only benefits us personally, it affects everything around us, emitting an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 3 feet outside of the body. When you are in coherence, your heart resonates at the same frequency as the Earth's magnetic field. This frequency positively affects everything around you. When a group of people are in coherence together, this effect is magnified. Could communities synchronized in coherence lower violence, accelerate cooperation, and global harmony? This is the purpose of the Global Coherence Pulse. If we can measure the impact of thousands of people in coherence at the same time, it could lead to a breakthrough in understanding the full potential of the human heart. All you need to participate is your presence and your heart. To take it to the next level, join the research study by downloading the app and getting an HRV monitor to measure your personal coherence. The world needs it more than ever before. Each human heart is unique and magnificent by itself. But imagine what could be possible when we unify.
I never get tired of watching that video, and it always makes me just so excited about the potential that we have every time we come together like this. Welcome everyone to the Global Coherence Pulse, April 2024. This is our 4th year of coming together once a month, sometimes more, to join together in community and meet new people like we are going to be today with Dr. James Miles. And I'm not going to say what it is. I'll leave that for Jennifer. I almost slipped. We get to come together to join as a community and to experience the power of coherence by being in practice together and by intentionally during the time that we spend together on these to pulse the planet with our love and our compassion and our care, and to nourish ourselves so that we can continue to hold that state of coherence in our relationships, in our lives, and that contributes to a better world, because as Roland McCready says, what we feed the field matters. And that's what we're doing right here. So thank you for taking time out of your day to join us for the Global Coherence Pulse. My name is Teresa Collins. I oftentimes don't say my name. I just imagine everybody knows. It's so funny. And I'm one of the co-founders of the Global Coherence Pulse. And it is absolutely my honor to be here with you every month. I really feel that. I really feel like I'm so nourished by this time. And I have a feeling today that we're going to leave uplifted. We're going to leave with a feeling of more joy and more bounce in our lives. And I'm really glad for that. So before I introduce Jennifer Hill, who's also member of our Global Coherence Pulse core team, and our guest today, James Miles, I invited Theo Grace to join us today because I wanted a little bit of music. I thought it would be really nice for us to have kind of Theo's beautiful, loving presence and energy and the music that he generates into the field today. So let's just take a moment, feel the bottom of our feet, settle into this 75-minute session, like really allow yourself to be right here, right now, not wherever you just ran from or wherever you're going today. But the more you bring your presence right here today, the more impact you'll generate and receive. And if you haven't yet, and you have the Global Coherence Pulse app, open it up, join the global group. I've had mine on for like 12 minutes. Oh, now it says 19. It just said, you have contributed 19 minutes of coherence into the global field. Oh, I'm so happy. So if you haven't gotten it, this is one of the ways that we're able to start learning about how we can generate coherence in our lives. HeartMath's coming out with a bunch of other stuff, and you'll hear about some HeartMath stuff today. But if you haven't downloaded it, just play with it. They've added all these new things. Really fun. So Theo, really happy to have you join today. Thank you so much for being with us. With like a last minute, Theo, I really want you here today, and really appreciate your presence. And I hear we might have some new music today.
Yeah, yeah. Got a new
Yeah.
song that I'm going to share a little later. And because the theme of this was community and being together, even though we're in this online, strange new way of being together, I thought I would bring back a classic. It's sort of a song circle classic that I learned a long time ago. A lot of you will probably know it. It's a song called Spiraling into the Center of Our Hearts. I actually don't know the title, but that's basically the lyrics. So it's a little bit of my own rendition of it, but I thought it's a simple song that we can all sing along to in our own homes, and we can spiral into the center of our hearts where we are all connected to this great mystery. So please sing along, and wherever you are, and let's just drop into the heart and drop into music and togetherness. Spiraling into the center of our hearts. Spiraling into the center of our hearts. We are the weaver, we are the woven one, we are the dreamer, we are the dream. So that's how it goes. Spiraling into the center of our heart. Spiraling into the center of our heart. We are the weaver, we are the woven one, we are the dreamer, we are the dream, we are the weaver, we are the woven one, we are the dreamer, we are the dream. One more time. Spiraling into the center of our heart. Spiraling into the center of our heart. We are the weaver, we are the woven one, we are the dreamer, we are the dream, we are the weaver, we are the woven one, we are the dreamer, center of our heart, spiraling into the center of our heart, spiraling into the center of our heart, spiraling into the center of our heart. So if you haven't already spiraled in and breathed into your heart, let's just take a few more breaths here. Really just be with that nice feeling of the heart chakra. It's typically so warm for me. Sometimes it's closed and clenched and tight, but it's often very warm and open, and it's just such a nice space to go into and to just hang out and be there. So may that warm vibration just wash over your body and be with you for the rest of this time together. And thank you for being here. Just sending you all so much love.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Perfect place to land in our own hearts all together. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to bring on Jennifer. Jennifer, look at all of these beautiful people who have joined us. So many familiar faces that are on the pulse a lot and in the connection field. And I just want to say, for those of you who, like, for the last 4 years, we keep showing up together, that your impact really does make a difference. And I know our lives have been enriched by showing up together like this. And if you're new to the pulse, because oftentimes we have new people that kind of come in. If you're new, let us know in the chat that you're new so that we can welcome you into this warm community. Yeah. And if somehow during the time today, different things inspire you, something somebody writes in the chat, or Jennifer or James or someone says, you can always type 11111, as many ones as you want, as a way just to reflect, like, I'm here, I'm listening, and I resonated with that. It's really fun, and it kind of makes us feel like we're really connected. So Jennifer, I'm going to turn this over to you so you can invite in our guest and have a lovely time, and you can tell our little surprise.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you to the Global Coherence Pulse community for always showing up. You know, yesterday I was sharing with Teresa and James before we went live here that I had food poisoning and I had a talk to give up in northern Portugal, and I almost didn't show up. But I remembered something that a friend had once said, that showing up is really all that matters. So no matter what state you're in, no matter whether your heart is open or closed, as Theo just brilliantly allowed us to spiral within, wherever you're at, acknowledge yourself that you showed up today. No matter what it took, you're here to help pulse the planet. So I'm very grateful to get to introduce you to a friend. And actually, the reason I know this friend, Dr. James Miles, is because of HeartMath and the Global Coherence Pulse and Initiative. It was 3 years ago, I believe, in 2021, when I was graciously invited to host and moderate the Global Coherence Initiative retreat that Dr. James Miles was being a featured guest at, and it was kismet. We had our first conversation, became dear friends, and I know Teresa is going to share about a special partnership a little later of how the next Pulse is going to be directly entwined with the next Global Coherence Initiative event happening in May, so stay tuned for that. Now, we have a very special man here, because not only is this man someone who has 2 PhDs, he is one of the highest level HeartMath certified trainers. He began his career as a Marine Corps officer and worked with the Joint Chief of Staffs. It also happens to be his birthday today. So let's all send James a little 111 action, a little birthday action. He decided to be with us on his actual birthday. when I had asked James a few months ago, I said, James, we would love to honor you with a pulse. Obviously, the HeartMath team, you are the king of coherence and resilience. This is what James teaches this. He has a community called the Resilient Village Community, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. How do we build resilient villages, resilient communities, greater coherence? And this man has devoted his whole life to it. And he used to be a minister, by the way, too. So he has this fantastic voice. So wait for it. So, James, I love you, my friend. I am so grateful that you chose and you said, Jennifer, I love to do something new every year on my birthday. I would be delighted to spend my actual birthday with you and Teresa and the Pulse. And kudos to Teresa, by the way, for pulling Theo in for a little extra birthday love. So we love all of you and thank you for showing up here. James, it's such an honor to have you with us today on the Pulse.
It's absolutely an honor to be here, be with the Global Coherence Pulse community. And I could not think of a better place to be and celebrate my birthday. It's an honor.
We love you, my friend. You're getting so much birthday love. Everybody is. Lily's sending you birthday love. Christine's sending you birthday love. Rita, T. Joy, it's great to be with all of you. So, James, you have had such an evolution. Obviously, you and I have been friends for a few years now. He was at my wedding. He was such a good sport. He's like, Jen, I think I might want to come to Lisbon and open a resilient village community there. I said, come to our wedding. We had met 3 months earlier. So he shows up. The first time I ever got to meet him in person was there.
And a great experience.
Oh,
Love
God.
beautiful wedding. Oh my gosh. Gorgeous bride and groom.
Oh, yes, my husband loves James too. So James, let's talk about this. Let's talk about how do we create these resilient villages, these coherent communities. I know you're teaching some of this with HeartMath right now through a special certification that Teresa will email out after the Pulse. What are the secrets to cultivating coherent communities?
Yeah. I love Cleo's song. This idea of spiraling into the heart and this notion that we are the weaver and the woven. And what is the dream? Just you put that together, this ideal of this coherent community starts with, what is my understanding of where I am? So inside Resilient Village, just the Resilient Village Collective, we say that we work with leaders, their teams, and families. One of the things that it needs that we're going to work with leaders in community, then it's like the teams. And then as soon as they're doing the work, all of a sudden it's realizing that it's not just the leader as a leader, it's also that leader as she shows up in her family, as he's trying to move through, other spaces. So as leaders, teams, and families, and the sense of consciousness that's connected to the heart. Oftentimes we have consciousness or levels of consciousness where we don't realize that I'm not just woven into this tapestry, I'm doing the weaving too. So some of those hamster wheels I want to get off of, maybe I need to stop weaving that in. So I can use this understand and the practice of coherence, which is what I love about the whole HeartMath toolkit. In so many ways, we can bring that into to kind of start breaking. I'm gonna say this, our habits and addictions to the way that habituation, the way we're used to doing things, even when it's uncomfortable. So the starting point is it's usually say, okay, where are you? And what are you trying to do? Or who are you seeing yourself being? Who are you trying to be? Where do you see this going? And then this little simple piece, what's your temperament? When we look at this idea now, all of a sudden I start creating a bracket. Not to box me in, but to give me more power and spring. And so we work with the leaders and we love, Dr. McCready will often quote Iliad, I said Prigozhin. And this whole ideal that, I'm gonna read this quote, when a complex system is far from equilibrium, small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to shift the entire system to a higher order. And so what we talk about is what are those pockets of coherence that you can create both in your own journey and within these spaces that we call community. So I was talking with this wonderful CEO of an engineering company, and he just made this just so, to him, just everyday statement that I thought was profound. He was saying that it's easier to hire, really skillful engineers. You see, usually the skill set's not the problem. The issue is that temperament, the space between. If this engineer is not talking to that one, or if this group doesn't like that, or we just want to keep doing it a certain way, but that way has already been shown itself not to be that effective, it's that space in between. If we can just deal with that temperament and look at those spaces, it then challenges us to see ourselves and see each other and then be open to new possibilities. And so when we're doing this work, and I know it's a long way to respond to that first kind of question, but when we're doing this work, one of the things is to do our best to come in and see each other. It's not, and I love the idea that we say it's not perfection, but it's excellence. Let's show up and do our best to see each other and understand what we're dealing with. What's this space or context? So at that point now, to Cleo's song, we're talking about looking at both the weaving and the weaver and to understand that we're both involved in both. And at that point now, once you can say, this is the context we see, now what can we do? Can we identify opportunities for pockets of coherence? At that point, it's not a matter of saying that they don't exist. That is one of the biggest mistakes that we can make, is coming in and assuming I have the answers and you don't have it. Let me give it to you. You know, even when we open up our heart, and I find that some people and some of our leaders and teams, they have excellent intentions, just amazing passion and heart, but sometimes our underlying assumptions get in the way. So we can come in and say, okay, let's look at what's really here, even things that I may not have seen before. That's why that possibility of a pocket of coherence, because we can look at these pockets where there's already good, decent to good relationships. There is at least a shared sense of purpose, even if we don't necessarily understand how to move forward with it. There's a willingness to explore, and then we bring in the HeartMath toolkit. We bring in some of these practices of coherence. We bring in some of the leadership principles. We bring in, well over 30 years in my background of community development and community structure and collaboration. And now all of a sudden, we can go from this is where I am. Oh, there's a little bit more there that I didn't see, to where this is where I want to be. Now let's start crafting. We call it culture crafting. Let's start crafting the journey to that other place. Now, the next thing that happens is that when we're on that journey, stressors just come up and triggers. It could just be, oh, I'm worried about all these things I've got to do, or I've got 20 pounds of to do and 5 pounds of resources. Oh my goodness, or wow, I stepped out there before and just got crushed. I'm really afraid. Now, it may not come in that language, but that's, the thing. So now we can start bringing in these tools of grace and love, bringing tools of understanding and seeing, getting coherent, as in the opening slide. What does that look like when I start getting coherence? I bring down that level of stress internally. And the more I can bring down, even if it's just in that moment, that might be one moment where I can see a little bit more. And so we find our teams now speaking back. So one example, we will work with a 50-year-old housing organization here in the city in Chicago. And in one of the wrap-up sessions, these are directors and leads in this group. They're like, I never realized that my teammates really were trying all these things to move us forward like that. Just that alone gave some breathing room to not, well, now that I can see that, I can also see new conversations versus just assumptions. And at that point, new possibilities come up that aren't captured in just the standard way of doing objectives and goals. And we can start visioning and leaving room for the surprise possibility. So that's one, it's quite a bit there, but that's one of the ways that we move into this discussion of a conscious community in each of these spaces that I live in, move in, or I'm trying to fulfill my sense of purpose.
I love that you use the word grace because we have, of course, our guest, Theo Grace. So how perfect is that? And, one of the things that comes to my mind, James, as you're talking about this, I'm not sure how many of us know about the three brain system. Does anybody know about that? It's basically that we have three parts to our brain, and we have that higher functioning part of our brain, the neocortex, or the executive functioning. And then we have the limbic part of our brain, which is, am I safe? Are you like me? And then, of course, all of our favorites, the fight or flight. Am I going to survive this? Do I need to run, fight, or flee? And I've been studying this a lot lately, James, and you just brought up some really good points about this. Our higher brain, am I safe and can I think creatively and come up with new ideas, can't function as an individual nor as a team until the lower brain first feels safe. And so there were two beautiful things that you just highlighted there. One, heart focused breathing. It's my favorite thing that I work with teams on. Heck, I did team training with you at HeartMath. He was my trainer. So part number one is heart focused breathing. When we pause before a meeting, when we do, allow a few heart-focused breaths before we send that email or get on the phone call or the Zoom, we've now created that deeper connection, and we've, really lessened the space between us and that other person, and we've accessed our higher brain functioning. And then the other thing that you highlighted there, James, it was so brilliant when you were talking about that team, is that assuming best intentions. I've seen this myself in working with teams with what we do with OptiMatch and others. We assume oftentimes that somebody is misbehaving. One of my favorite analogies was a brilliant woman named Alison Armstrong, who studied men and women for 30 years. And she has this funny analogy where she says the problem with women and men is that women treat men like they're hairy, misbehaving women. And I like to use that analogy in the team place. It's true, we treat each other as if we're misbehaving. Though what if, to your point, James, we're not misbehaving? So before we go into the meditation, which I know you have a beautiful special meditation, before we go into that and hear a little bit more of Theo's music, is there any other little thing that you'd like to highlight about team coherence? Maybe one little nugget or gem before we go into the meditative part?
Yeah, I'd love to build on that last part. There is not only do we make that assumption of misbehaving, a lot of times we're projecting. So just because I was raised, it's habituation. Just because I was raised to believe, see, or think this way, or because this is the only way I was taught to do it, doesn't mean that there aren't other ways. And these other ways don't have to be a threat. So now to that point, you mentioned heart-focused breathing, that simple building block. Then if I can interject that, so for example, with some of the Resilient Village clients, we basically do two things on the personal level. We call it a sandwich a day. A sandwich a day means you start your day, one piece of bread, and for those that are trying to cut down the carbs, one piece of leaf, lettuce or something. But that is when you at the start of your day, practice some type of coherence technique. We would recommend the simplest heart-focused breathing or some of the others. Throughout the day, when you find yourself getting caught up, kind of energy coming down, just do these quick little 30-second to 1 minute, coherence exercises. Just drop into your heart, spiral down to that heart, slow down the breathing, and just believe. And so that becomes the stuff in the sandwich through the day. And then at the end of the day, then that other piece of bread or a piece of lettuce would be then you end the day with just say like 5 or 10 minutes of coherence. Now, that's the personal side. On the more professional side, then we have leaders who are starting their meeting with maybe 1 minute of coherence. Just that 1 minute, you'd be amazed at how it can start shifting. You're not asking, not everybody's, not every corporation, organization, or team, for varying reasons, can just jump in and say, let's get coherent now. But what you can do is while some are being having a moment of centering or silence, the others can be actually getting coherent. And we know that that goes out across the field. Literally every month, I'm hearing examples where this is shifting the meeting and they're starting to ask each other how you're doing. Well, what we just did know is that we just changed the trajectory just a little bit. And imagine 1 inch difference now could be a mile of goodness down the road. And
Mm.
so that's kind of, some simple examples that really now you're creating community and you're crafting a new culture, even if it's in these simple terms.
Mm. Beautiful, James. It's such a great reminder for all of us that it's these micro moments that can lead to greater coherence in the same way that this micro moment of an hour or so that we spend together the third Saturday of every month, this builds into miles and miles and galaxies of coherence that then can impact the lives, because who we're showing up as today is going to impact everybody else whose lives we come across today or in the next coming days. James, I would love to have hand it over to you, my friend, for whatever sort of heart-focused breathing meditative experience you want to take us into before we go back to Theo.
Yeah. So if I'd love to just ask everybody for their, let's call it their indulgence. Generally, all of us have something in our journey, whether it's a relationship, some type of goal, that's a bit challenging for us. And in different ways, some of us, will just keep putting it off until we have to deal with it, or we just run into it, kind of hardcore style, and like, oh my gosh, there's a line up in there, let me come back out. Um, but the idea, what I invite you to do is to think about that thing, that relationship, that objective that's just in your heart. Now, for this exercise, uh, don't just pick the biggest, hairiest gorilla that's been around for 50 years. You want maybe pick the puppy, but you just want to experience a little shift in that relationship or in how you see yourself accomplishing a goal. And so I invite you to write that down on a piece of paper or something, so you can just really not just have the thought, but kind of, put your body into it. And while you're doing that and writing it down, pay attention to what you're feeling. A lot of times we may feel a little twitch someplace in our body, or we may feel a little tension. But just think about that. Because remember when, as we were sharing earlier, the first step is, where am I? Or how am I showing up? And now, once you have that down, I'm going to lead us in HeartMath's quick coherence. And so here we go. You can sit comfortably. Feel free to put your hand on your heart if you like. Eyes open or closed, does not matter. Whatever works best for you. Focus your attention in the area of your heart. Imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area. Breathe in a little slower and deeper than usual. Find an easy rhythm that's comfortable. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, or whatever rhythm is most comfortable for you. Make a sincere attempt to experience a regenerative feeling, such as appreciation or care for someone or something in your life. As you continue that heart-focused breathing, just breathe in that appreciation or care. Settling into your heart, giving yourself that love and appreciation. Thank you. Now, from this heart-centered place, I want to ask you to take another look at that relationship, objective, or situation, and see what other insights will come up from your heart. And own them, embrace them, and then write them down. And as you're writing that down, we have just 2 quick steps to do. I want you to imagine, visualize that wisdom in full operation in your space, in that relationship. And imagine yourself safe and grounded and guided and in full sharing and receiving and giving of this greater solution for your better self and better outcome. If you find that tension trying to come back in, drop back into your heart. And now, write down what you see. And give yourself permission to be bold, to be open, to see new possibilities, and to embrace it. Now, as you're capturing that inner wisdom, that coherent heart, I'd love for those that are willing to just put in the chat, just put, as Teresa said, let's put some ones in it. If you just felt yourself getting even just a little bit of guidance or insight on where you could take things, and consider that some of your marching orders. Now, and here's what I'm inviting you to do. All of us have this world around us, just a soup of stuff that we're navigating through. Whenever you find yourself going back to the old habits or looking back or that tension coming back in, drop back into your heart and remember that vision. Allow that vision to grow, but keep bringing that coherent practice to it. Bring in that quick coherence, bring in that heart focused breathing that we just did right here together. And trust that you'll be supported. You'll be amazed at the insight and the nuggets that will come at just the darndest time, and then act on it and move forward. Um, and in such, we see that as being one of the basic building blocks of creating a coherent community and raising our consciousness in our role in it. Or as Theo was singing so wonderfully, we're the weaver and the woven at the same time. Let's weave a better tapestry. That's going to be something that we'll be so wonderfully proud and nurtured wearing as we go through our next few days. So thank you.
Thank you, James. Yeah. Having a common vision, so crucial. And this song is called Common Design, and it's about how, yes, on the surface and in many ways we're unique and different, but there is a core underlying, there's several core underlying unifying qualities, and that's what this song is about. So if you want, you could select gallery view and just sort of check out the community and check out us here together, and that we're all on this planet and there's something happening. These family lines go farther than we know, beyond ancient future times. And what we have are stories and signs, blank puzzle pieces and hand-me-down minds. But we are more than just machines in some nightmare of a dream. But if you don't know why you're here, well, it's hard to see what it means. And there's a longing deep inside to be free from all the lies, to know we do make a difference and we're on the same side. Oh, this life is not just mine. I send ripples through space and time. And when I see myself reflected in your eyes, the mystery collides and destiny redefines our common design. Whoa, our common design. Oh, well, I alone cannot save the world, but I can sing my song and make waves across the pond. And I believe, despite all the doubt, 'cause I've seen what's possible when we love enough to work it out. Oh, it's been a long, hard road for so many. The time's come, we're finally ready, and there's nothing left to do but come together and choose. What do we want? What is this worth? How can we learn a little more from the earth? We all bleed, we all breathe, we all come from the same seed, and this life is not just mine. I send ripples through space and time. And when I see myself reflected in your eyes, the mystery collides and destiny redefines our common design. Oh, a common design. Oh, a common design. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Theo. James, that was beautiful. Jennifer, let's add you guys back in. I've been having so much fun looking at all the people that are here, and such a nice, beautiful community, feeling so rested and relaxed all together. So beautiful. Let's see, let's bring Jennifer in. James. Wow. I think starting, Theo, with you weaving us into our heart, and James, you just kept taking us right there. Like, that's the point, right? Like, where we are, first things first. Where am I? And what am I feeding the field? And you using the quote of the Islands of Coherence, that's been an inspiration for me since way back in Barbara Marx Hubbard days. The first time I heard it, I had a cellular experience where every cell in my body knew it was true. And it's really guided everything that I've done around my own personal coherence and the work I've done to say, it's time for us to be those islands of coherence. And I think it's more essential than ever that we actually really understand the power of us coming together in small numbers, in larger numbers, but most importantly, in coherence. So, yeah.
I love that, Teresa. Last year, I was given a vision. One of my favorite songs, if nobody's ever come across it, is called Inner Worlds by Estes Tone. and it blows my mind. You can meditate, dance to it. I think I've shared it with you, Teresa. And so I was at this friend's house and we're doing a full moon ceremony. Everybody's just completely sober and we sit around, a bunch of women, and we started playing this 22-minute song from Estes Tone. And in the middle of it, it was one of the most profound visions I'd ever had. I was taken out and I was shown the whole universe. And I was shown how, just like the pieces of a vase that have shattered and broken apart, that we, like human beings, had forgot that we were part of the same original whole. And in Japanese artwork, there's a famous, beautiful type of artwork called kintsugi gold. And what you do is when something breaks, rather than throwing it away, you repair it with 24 karat gold. And in that vision, I was shown that the 24 karat gold is love and that we can repair everything and put us all back together. And I think Theo and James, Teresa, you're all embodying that. And that's the thing is, I thought of this too, James, when you were speaking earlier. We can always try and tell people how we think they should act, or you should be kinder. Yet the quickest way to transform our relationships with others is to transform our relationship with ourselves. When we do that for ourselves, that opens the connection to others, that opens the connection to our purpose. Yet we're not going to be able to use that love unless we can first cultivate it for ourselves.
You know, inside the Resilient Village, we have a statement we call doing good daily. And what that means is that every place to go, no place to hide, all of us can do it. The simple act of getting coherent and just practicing it, not perfect, just with a sense of excellence, can transform so much. So much so, even my kids for birthday gave me a kintsugi kit that we're good to do together. And again, it's like we're owning all the bumps of our journey, but here we are finding new ways and even symbolic gestures to practice love. And so this idea of doing it from the inside out is just a game changer, challenging at times, but wonderfully rewarding. And so that's our doing good daily.
Doing good daily. I love that. Theo, one thing I really have always appreciated about you is that your own journey to cultivating coherence and your ability and willingness to kind of reveal the challenges that it takes to get there and the great rewards that come when you kind of can break through those. And James, you were talking about that today. Really just appreciate that about you and want to open up the line for you to share some of your part too.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in community for the last 12 years and in intentional community. And we raised our son for 5 or 6 years in Portland at that community and was really acquainted with like the really the only thing holding us back from creating a paradise on earth is this personal coherence and then being in relationship with other people's shadows and cultivating all these qualities that I love in Buddhism. They talk about how like you should hang out with people who kind of bother you a little bit. You know, it's important to be around and to have those those places poked because that's the sandpaper that polishes us. You know, so we're cracking and then we're repairing, but we're also allowing these qualities of patience and kindness and love to be cultivated, and the ways that we're bothered by other people, that's the sandpaper that like helps us become a more polished piece of wood that can be useful and good in the world.
I love that.
It's a great reminder, Theo. It's so interesting. I was just reading a book today. Somebody had recommended it to me called Bringers of the Dawn. Has anybody ever read it? That is an old school book. It has like 700,000 five-star reviews. I was like, I was trying to look up this book. And it's basically saying about how people, basically there's light and dark. Yet if we make the dark wrong, then we won't be able to ever kind of like with it. To your point, Theo, it's not the moment we start judging the dark or the shadow in ourselves or in anybody else, then we're creating more of that space, and we're getting further and further away from that love and that kintsugi that will allow us to come back together.
Yeah. You know, guys, we have a few minutes, and I'm feeling really inspired again. Just feeling the field right now is that we've generated a really good space inside of ourselves and in this group. And I would love for us maybe to take like 3 minutes, right, in silence together, and really just pulse the planet with our love and care and compassion. Trust that it's going to go exactly where it's needed. We don't have to direct it. We just have to intend it happening. So let's just really use this time to send this energy out. Just really focused on our breath. And just radiating love. Let's send some special love directed now towards our brother, Dr. James Mile, for his birthday today. That he just gets an extra boost of love and joy to carry into his heart, into his life, into his work, and into all of the places that his love touches. And let's turn that energy now and bring it into the center of our own heart so that we're nourished, especially in the moments when it's hard to choose coherence, to choose to pause, to choose to breathe, to choose love and compassion. Leaving no cell untouched by this love. Sandwich every day, a little bit in the morning, life in between, a little bit in the evening. Might have to add a few things of lettuce or a few kind of slices in between, the better. Big old sandwich.
Yeah.
Teresa, I would love to leave everybody with one more tip before we get into some announcements of something the Kabbalists cultivated that I found personally is extraordinary of what we can do to piggyback on what James and Theo and we've created today. And that's an idea called proactive confrontation. So much like that exercise that James took us through earlier in quick coherence and had us reflect on somebody we felt maybe separate from or not as close as we'd like to be, the great Kabbalist would say that what if we meditate, we breathe slowly and deeply. I use heart-focused breathing as the catalyst for this, to then reach out at the heart level to the person we're in conflict with. Just imagining that we almost have this heartstring, this gossamer thread connecting us to the other person's heart. And we have those challenging conversations via that heartstring before we ever have the conversation in person. And it was so funny. I was sharing this with my friend Amy. They teach it in business as well. And she said there was a gentleman that it's going to make me tear up. There was a gentleman they were working with who was this like powerful CEO executive, and somebody was bullying his kid at school. So they taught him a variation of this. And they said, listen, have a conversation with the kid who's bullying your kids and the parents of this kid at the heart level first. So this was on a Friday. He had a conversation with them. No physical conversation ever took place. And on the Monday, the parents and the child came knocking at the door to apologize for any pain they had caused their child. And what if we could all do that? Like, what if we could resolve things at the heart level, at what the Kabbalists call proactive confrontation, soul talking, whatever you want to call it? I just think it could be an amazing way to create more coherent communities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I just asked if Laura, who's new today, this was her first Global Coherence Pulse, if she would be willing to come on camera for a minute. I always love to hear how somebody's experience. And for some reason, I kept being drawn to your face and your smile and your presence. So I just had to bring you on and say, welcome. Hello, Laura.
Hello. Thank you. I'm kind of feeling like, how did I not find this group earlier? It feels like coming home. It's a very strong field, especially what we just did. Those last 3 minutes of joint intention. To me, it's really exciting to come together like this and have such a huge impact in such a short period of time. And I know today astrologically is a big thing going on. Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus, things are really getting shaken up on the planet today. So I'm feeling really good about the timing of this event too, in the midst of whatever's happening. I don't know what's happening, but we're holding the space for whatever's happening. So thank you.
Beautifully
Thanks
said.
to everybody.
I'm glad that you brought in the astrology. I did hear about that. And one thing that I know from this exploration of islands of coherence in a sea of chaos is that this is the moment that we've been practicing and knew that we were here for. A moment when there would be a wave of awakening that would come that would really destabilize everything, right? We know what it's like as we had that. And these are the moments where no matter what is going on outside of ourselves, that we can actually choose to be an island of coherence right here, right now. So that as things are shifting, because they need to in order for the new to break through, that we would provide that coherent energy that it would allow that fragmentation to quickly resolve and shift to a higher order instead of dissipate so far that it took a while for it to come back. Because I think the shift that's coming, I don't think we can stop it. There's nothing we can do. It's the entire universe expanding and growing, but we can choose how we're going to navigate and experience it. And I think that's the gift that we can give. And I felt it today in those 3 minutes. I really felt it today. Yeah. Welcome, Laura. Keep coming back.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
We have another newbie here too, Teresa. I just saw in the chat, there's Ian Hayworth is joining us from Australia. at 5 a.m. Australia time. So I don't know if we want to bring him up to say a quick
Yeah,
hello, but
let's see. Say
here,
the name again.
I can add a spotlight to him.
Okay, great. All
Yeah,
right.
just go ahead and add him. So Ian is an incredible thought leader, incredible human being who was part of our original Om Heals group and had referred me great healers back in the day. And I thought that was him in the chat, but I'm like, it must be an absurd hour in Australia right now. And I think this is your first time joining us, right, Ian?
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful to meet everybody, and it's never too early to have this kind of love. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's really beautiful, and we're a day ahead of you in Australia, so we're already you're sending it into the future as well. So thanks very much for allowing me in. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
Yes,
Gosh, you're such
Here.
beautiful people today.
So good to see you, Ian. Thanks for being here and adding your heart.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to some announcement because part of this is the Global Coherence Pulse isn't just once a month we get this energy, but that we've been really cultivating community this whole time. And we want to see what James is doing, and we want to include that in what we're exploring. So Kaylin's going to bring up some websites, and we're going to put some links in the chat. We're going to find out how to stay in touch with James and Theo and some other things that are coming that you could join your energy to. So Kaylin, let's bring up first the Resilient Village. So James, you can tell us a little bit about your website and what you invite people to explore when they come here, how they can stay in touch with you.
Absolutely. So this website now, in a humble sense, this gives us a snapshot of some of our top level programs. We work with leaders, youth. Then this community, what we call the ecotones, is built on an ecological model of helping people collaborate and understand the fusion that comes together. And so the site really is just to share those things and give you a way to contact. We will be uploading a new one. And in the travel series, we also offer immersive experiences. So doing that. So my email, you can see the info at resilientvillage.org. We have .org or jlmiles@resilientvillage.net. Feel free to reach out to me and we can talk about those things. And then we have a special program that we're doing.
Do you have the PDF, Kaylin? There we go.
So we have a special program here. We're actually building on HeartMath's Coherence Advantage certified trainer program. We also are teaching cohorts how to take this material into community, into organizations, and really make it come alive in those places, spaces, and with the people that you love. And so it's a 15-week program, and that by the end of it, you'll not only be really ready to go and just be part, we like saying, let's be part of the solution in a dynamic, transformative way. And then we also have a whole set of tools. In addition to the HeartMath toolkit, we have some additional tools that have been tried and true over the last 8 years that will help you be effective in your own community or with your own tribe. So we invite you to reach out to me and learn more about this program as well. It's a lot of fun working together in this.
Thank you, James. I love that you're working with the leaders who will born more leaders.
Absolutely.
Let's go to Enthio. Enthio, you want to share, you'll unmute, share a little bit about what's happening for Enthio now. I'm pretty excited, and I always love that you give us these sites where we can just go and explore a bunch of things.
Yeah. So I have a couple new releases out there. They're a little different than what I've done. I've done ambient music. I've done like acoustic music. I just refuse to like kind of be put into a genre box as an artist because I gotta spread my wings and fly in many directions. So then the first couple releases are a little more poppy, dancey, fun stuff. But then you have the Living Wisdom, that's the purple one. That's a really interesting and fun project that combines gene keys with ambient music, and people really love those. So take a look around. I'm also a music producer. If you know anyone who's looking for a producer to produce their songs and their music, I love doing that. I love doing meditations, and I'll have a whole new website coming out in a probably a month or so, and so I'm excited about that. Lots going on though.
Yay.
Yeah.
Great, Theo. Definitely go check out the different offerings there. I love that you're so diverse. That's
It's
the fun part.
confusing for people I know, but it's like I'm trying to have portals where people can access
Yeah,
what they want, and I'm designing that right now to get a little less confusing.
yeah. Somebody just asked if you're on Spotify, which I know you are.
Yes, under
Yeah.
Entheo. If you,
And Theo. Yeah,
yeah,
you can put that in the chat too.
yeah.
All right, and then speaking of Gene Keys, there is a Gene Keys Earth Day celebration on Monday, and they're bringing some of the presenters from the Dream Arc, and I'm one of them. So I'm going to be representing the Earth on Monday for this 60-minute presentation, experience, community, music day. So come on Monday, Earth Day. It's at noon. It's like a nice little lunchtime to be together with Richard Rudd and other members of the Gene Keys community. So I'm putting a link in the chat for that. And then HeartMath is for the first time in a long time doing an in-person retreat. Greg Braden is going to be there. Do you have the video that from Greg Braden? Theo?
Sorry?
Oh,
The
not
video?
Theo. I'm sorry,
Oh,
Kaylin.
Kaylin,
Did you have
okay.
the video with Greg Braden? Here we go. Just a little invitation from Greg Braden about this event.
Friends, Greg Braden here. I'm coming to you today from our studio just outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico. In May of this year, May of 2024, I'm going to be in Santa Cruz, California. I'm going to be speaking at a conference produced and hosted by the Institute of HeartMath. That's what I want to talk to you about right now. I'm really excited, especially excited about this conference, well, for a number of reasons. First of all, it is the first live event produced by HeartMath, well, in 5 years, since 2019. And I'm honored to be among the speakers, the scientists, and the researchers who are going to be at this conference. Some are coming in virtually because they are located in other parts of the world. Travel is going to prevent them from being with us live. I have the opportunity to be there live, and I am going to be there live so that I can meet you, and that together we can explore the power of the human heart in unconventional ways. That's what the Institute of HeartMath is all about. The Institute of HeartMath, I think many of you know, is a pioneering research organization that does just that. It explores the power of the human heart in ways that may not be documented in our biology books and our textbooks on the one hand, and on the other hand, it goes right to the core of what you and I need in our lives for the world that we find ourselves in right now. We all know the heart has the power to pump blood, and we all know that it does a really good job of doing that. But the heart does so much more. New discoveries have now overturned 150 years of thinking when it comes to the human heart, what it does, what it is capable of, and how we access in what we call self-regulation. And this is really important. You and I are the only form of life that we know of today that has the ability to sit down in a moment in time and choose in that moment, at will, on demand, to self-regulate everything from our immune system, from creating a very strong immune response to awakening the longevity enzymes that live in our cells. Who doesn't want that? To creating resilience to stress and change in our world. Man, we've got a lot of stress and a lot of change going on in the world right now, and I think that's true for all of us. The heart is now implicated in experiences that lead to what some people call superhuman experiences. Super memory, super cognition, super learning, super recall. The ability to trigger over 1,300 positive biochemical responses in the human body. And the beauty of all of it is we don't have to know the science. We are such sophisticated beings with such a simple interface. We don't have to know the science. We access the power of the heart through thought, feeling, emotion, breath, and focus. And this is what I'm going to be doing with you at this conference. I'm speaking on Saturday alone as a keynote, and I'm going to be sharing many of these new discoveries, and then I will come back and be part of a live panel with Dr. Roland McCready, the Director of Research. We're going to call this Roland and Greg Unleashed or Roland and Greg Unplugged. It's unscripted. It's going to be wild. We have no idea what's going to happen. We know it's going to be a lot of fun, and every question is on the table. If we can answer it, we will do it. No holds barred, and that's what's going to make this so exciting. So this is a live event, as I mentioned. It's going to be held at the beautiful resort and spa, the Chaminade Resort and Spa in Santa Cruz. And it is an opportunity to come together as community. You know, this is one of the things that we've discovered in recent years. Scientists have found that community ranks very high on the scale of human needs, right underneath food and water. We need to be together with one another. Our hearts need to connect through the fields that they emit, and proximity has a lot to do with that. It's not required, but when we come together in a room and we can look at one another's eyes and feel one another's hearts, that's where the magic begins. We are going to do some special things at this conference as well. We're going to use the sensors from the Global Coherence Initiative, the GCI project, that are placed strategically on different continents of this earth. They will be sending back measurements while you and I are exploring and using the techniques to awaken and activate the power of our heart for all the things that we've talked about. Real time, we will have the opportunity to see the impact that we, our community, and those that are streaming live are having upon the sensors in this field. We don't know how it's going to come out. You'll be there with us to see and part of this live experiment. So if the things I'm saying to you, if they speak to you, if it appeals to you to be in the presence of community, like-minded people who recognize the significance of our time in history and the power of the human heart to put us on the right track and move us in a good direction and do so in a good way. I'm going to invite you to check out this program. Click the link below, check this out, hit the registration button, and I look forward to seeing you in Santa Cruz, California in May 16th through 19th of this year, 2024. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your day with me today.
Up, Greg. The other thing around this this event is they're going to be doing it virtual as well. Not everybody can get to Santa Cruz, and there's not room for everybody there. So they are doing a hybrid event, virtual and in person. And our next Global Coherence Pulse just happens to be on the same day. So we are going to join the in-person meditation that they're doing there with the Global Coherence Pulse virtual community. So you can either join the event and spend the 4 days with us, or you can join on Saturday during the Global Coherence Pulse, and we will send out quite a ripple of love and care and compassion into the world. And as he said, these different sensor clusters around the world will be sending back information around how we're doing as we're feeding the field. So one last thing is I definitely want to also invite you to join the connection field if you haven't yet. It's a free community, social community. If you like to, be in a social environment with other people who are cultivating coherence, this is the place to come. We have activities happening every day of the week that are about joining together in community and cultivating coherence. And we need that because just this once a month is wonderful and we have a huge impact. But if we really want to support ourselves to have sustained coherence in the face of whatever we're facing, we really need to have community around us that's helping us, supporting us, empowering us, igniting us to live our purpose and to be an island of coherence in this growing sea of chaos. So thank you, Kaylin, for bringing all of those up. I want to bring back Jennifer and James and Theo. And Theo is going to share a song with us before we go today, just to take this energy that we've been cultivating in our hearts and pulsing out into the field. Let's be sure all day today that we just send this love out onto the planet, because boy, it needs it right now. And if there's some things happening out in the cosmos, let's at least allow the coherence of our presence to support whatever it is that's most needed from life right now. Whatever's most needed from life right now to support us. Let's support that. So Theo, and thank you, James. We love you. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Love being here so much. Could be a better place.
Yeah, and Jennifer, thank you so much for your presence and love today. Yeah. So Theo, is this when we get the new song?
Yes.
Okay.
This is when you get the new song.
Okay.
And this is my first time sharing it with a group. So please forgive me if I trip up anywhere, but I'll give it my best. And it's called One Becoming One, which is actually a powerful organization that hasn't really taken off yet, but the idea of one becoming one is really what's happening here. And I was inspired by that and wrote this song. Nothing is created, nothing is destroyed. Everything changes, the broken rejoins. Born from the sacred, whole and complete. Nothing is wasted when we give and receive. And I hold these truths to be self-evident. I bow down before the evidence in everyone and in everything. See through the lies and sing deep in the dark. I remember, I feel it open my heart. I surrender. The truth is burning like a morning star, bursting into all that we are. Oh, we've come so far to find one becoming one. Melting the walls made of fear and pain. Enter the halls of our soul's embrace. Let in the song of divine grace. It's all we really want. Sharing the love abundant like the sun. Spirit comes to give it to everyone. Bang on the drums of freedom, 'cause love will carry us. Deep in the dark, I remember, I feel it open my heart. And I surrender. The truth is burning like a morning star, bursting into all that we are. Oh, we've come so far to find one becoming one. You can't see it, no, you can't hear it, oh, you can't touch it when you know, you know. You can't hold it, no, cannot control it, but when you feel it, yeah, you know, you know. Something inside is coming alive, and when you know, you know, you know. dark. I remember, I feel it open my heart, and I surrender. The truth is burning like a morning star, bursting into all that we are. Oh, we've come so far to find one becoming one.
That's
Yeah.
a hit. Wow.
That's for you, James. Happy birthday.
Happy
Thank
birthday,
you.
James. Your daughter wishes you happy birthday from the chat too. I think Lisa's with us.
Yeah, yeah, my princess. I love her.
Aw,
Yeah.
thank you, Theo. That was magic. What a beautiful birthday gift. Share your new song with James and your heart. My God, that song was magic. Thank you.
Yeah, that was really beautiful.
And
Thank
we
you
will be in
so
touch,
much.
Theo.
Any last words from you, James? This is your last little birthday. Anything, a wish, anything?
You know, my wish is that if you were touched in any way, do good daily. Take that coherent sandwich and send out ripples of transformation. We all need it. It's time, and we're called to it. And I love you.
Thank you, James. All right. Thank you, everyone. Do good daily.
Do good daily, guys. Much love.
Bye.